Hi, my name is David. I like to talk about business strategy and other things. And today we'll spend a few minutes dissecting the anatomy of some famous corporate fails with a brief journey through some well known business blunders to understand how even industry giants can fall. The goal here is not just to study history, but to learn from it. And in the end, there will be five key questions that businesses can ask themselves in order to prevent similar failures from occurring. And thanks to these examples, we can be confident that CEOs the world over are looking out for their shareholders and will never, ever repeat these mistakes ever again. So, the first fail category here centers on a fundamental yet often overlooked principle: the customer is king. More precisely, is that the customer's preferences are king, and either you give them what they want, even if it cannibalizes your own business, or they will go elsewhere. Companies like Nokia and Kodak are great examples of this, where the C suites ignored major shifts in consumer preferences toward smartphones, digital photography, choosing instead to hold on to old hardware and business models, losing their market dominance and ultimately their relevance. These examples serve as a stark reminder that failing to respond to your customers and to market demand is a direct path to obsolescence. Let's consider another example: the gap between vision and reality. A brilliant strategy, of course, is worthless without effective execution, as we see with Target's ill fated Canadian expansion or JCPenny's chaotic rebranding. A failure to align teams, communicate goals, and allocate resources properly can be catastrophic. These examples, along with Circus City's pivot from home appliances and ambitious expansion at the expense of customer service, demonstrates that the how is just as important as the what. Without meticulous implementation, even the most promising plans are destined to fail. Next, we address one of my favorite fails is the failure to innovate. Why is this my favorite? I think it just sounds cool. And actually, innovation is the fun part of business. If a company can't figure out how to innovate, then they're truly missing out on all that life has to offer. So in a world of rapid technological disruption, innovation is essential. Standing still is essentially moving backwards. Blockbuster famously passed on acquiring Netflix while Blackberry dismissed the rise of touchscreens. Both paid the ultimate price. Toys R Us was slow to using the internet to sell things. So, actually, I think if there's a common thread among these companies, more than just a lack of innovation, but deeper than that, I think it has much to do with the fear of cannibalizing your own core business. So, for example, Blockbuster always gets hit on these business fail lists. But if I were the CEO then, John Antioco, would I really have done something different? In 2006, Blockbuster's total access subscriber base was growing at a faster rate than Netflix. The famous $50 million offer that Blockbuster had rejected was in September 2000. So a long time before that, Netflix didn't even start streaming until 2007. So in a way, I think I'm just fascinated by this particular example. In a way, at the time, Antiaco is right. And despite the amazing growth that he brought to Blockbuster, they still didn't leverage their brand name and customer base to something that would be far more lucrative in the future, potentially. But are you going to be the one to tell your shareholders that this mega cash cow business, Blockbuster, that's been performing so amazingly for the previous 20 years, should suddenly change to putting movies on an internet, which was at the time just barely fast enough in some places to accommodate streaming? So I probably would not, although it is still a great fail example. But the better play for them probably might have been to just try real hard to pivot to what Netflix was doing, even if it was just a hedge. And I think they kind of tried that as well, but at some point, but ultimately it didn't work. So in that case, the biggest mistake of not innovating, and where in the end Blockbuster still probably deserves to be on the great business failure listings. And these cases, I think, underscore a critical truth for any business leader. Innovation is not a luxury, but a core survival mechanism. So let's turn our attention to growth strategies, specifically mergers and acquisitions. Every CEO wants to be at the top of a major merger. So while M&A can be a powerful tool for growth and shareholder returns, of course there's risk, and more than just financial or business risk. Disastrous unions of AOL and Time Warner, HP Compaq, and Daimler-Benz and Chrysler mergers highlight the critical importance of strategic and cultural alignment. When companies ignore these deep-seated cultural differences or lack a clear post-merger integration plan to bring together these different kinds of business cultures, the resulting clash can destroy value, obviously in this case, billions, instead of creating it, as these examples show. We also know that mishandling information can be a fatal mistake, and this would be maybe the newest type of major business failure. Take, for example, the massive Equifax breach in 2017, and this was only recently resolved in 2024 with some payout to the affected customers, and that all just resulted from good old-fashioned poor security. As for example, a government report cited several of these problems: slow to updating the system updates, for example, the ones that I never accept on my mobile phone. I guess they're sometimes kind of important. Lack of basic security best practices like segmenting servers, and well, that sounds technical, but I'm not sure. I think if I were a trained technician, that's something I probably would have thought of. Failing to immediately disclose the breach, and we all like corporations that are honest and forthright with us. So that was a big one, and in the end cost them quite a bit in fines just for that. Insider trading among top executives also on the list, another favorite business failure topic. Maybe I should go into that at some point another day. So, and of course, what was known as the mother of all breaches in 2013, with 3 billion user accounts and stolen data, including names, emails, passwords, birthdays, phone numbers. I think mine was probably my Yahoo account was on that list as well. At the root of the problem was, as they say, a simple phishing scheme and some unencrypted data storage. Ultimately, Yahoo paid 117 million in a settlement. I think on top of that, another 35 million for not disclosing the incident. So what can we learn from all this, and what are some of the key takeaways? I think having analyzed these mistakes, how do we prevent them is really the question. Prevention, of course, is far more cost effective than trying to recover from a strategic blunder. I think first is building a resilient organization, and to do that requires a commitment to a customer-centric approach. In other words, understanding why your customers are there, and more importantly, what other options they have. On this foundation, then, it is possible to extract value from innovation, which requires fostering a culture of innovation and ensuring execution excellence through clear plans and accountability. So embedding, of course, a data-driven culture is also non-negotiable these days. And by embracing these core principles, I think businesses can not only avoid the pitfalls of the past, but also adapt and secure sustainable success for the future. So a few questions to consider, and I think that every company should regularly ask themselves these core questions to make sure to give themselves a pulse on the market and what they're doing, and to make sure that to reduce the chance that they're going to go off course and make some significant errors. Okay, so the first one is, are we truly listening to our customers? And how are we tracking their evolving needs and preferences? Do we understand our customers? And are we agile enough to adapt and to adjust the offers that we give our customers according to the market trends? I think another important question is our strategy executable? Do we have a clear plan of actions, defined roles, resources, robust communication channels to ensure implementation of whatever strategy we're trying to implement? Are we fostering a culture of innovation? So do we encourage experimentation? Do we allow employees to make mistakes without them that impacting their careers for forever? Do we learn from these failures and actively seek out disruptive ideas to stay ahead of the curve? Another key question is, do we have a disciplined M&A process? In fact, not just M&A, but acquisition of skills, acquisition of smaller businesses, acquisition of capabilities that will enable change and continue value creation over time. So when pursuing M&A or any kind of skill enhancing or value creation opportunity, are we looking carefully at the details, at the cultural compatibility? Because ultimately, it's people that bring these companies together and people that move things forward. And if the culture of one company is not compatible with another, then that is clearly a recipe for trouble. And finally, is our data considered to be a strategic asset? So are we investing in data quality, also security, and using reliable data to inform decisioning in all parts of the organization? So I think these are 5 key questions that companies can ask, which will help to prevent major failures in the future. And so actually there's one thing I wanted to add to this, which I think will prove to be the next big blunder. If your company isn't maximizing its use of AI to save resources and to optimize its analysis and to make sure data flows are consistent across the organization, I think that companies that don't do this are exposing themselves to competitors that do. So that's a topic, in fact, a topic I've covered already in some areas and will continue to topic. Really fascinates me on the amazing things that AI applications are able to do and how companies can put that to use. So with that, wish you all the best in your business pursuits and have a great day ahead. Thanks.